notification. All right. So, welcome to the Expand Beyond Recovery practice. I'm really grateful to be here with all of you today. And we're kind of still working with our theme of creating space. And I really like those two words when it comes to physical movement, whether that's yoga or dance. Could be walking or working out or, whatever, however you like to move. The idea when we move our bodies, we create space in our bodies. That really resonates with me. And also that idea of our body in space. So, our physical being, bone, tissue, blood, all of our systems, we take up space in the world. And I think that sense of self and sense of centeredness really increases when we start to move, to engage in embodied movement. I think we learn to know where our bodies are in space. A lot of times if we've gone through trauma or, challenge, we disconnect. That's the first thing you kind of want to do is disconnect from your body. So I know on a recovery journey, connecting back to our bodies and having gratitude and self-love is such an important part of this recovery journey. So movement, spacious movement, I guess, is something for me that's super important. So I want to invite you today, like I said, to engage with this practice however you want. Whatever I offer is going to be an invitation. You are welcome to adjust, do something different than what I offer. I'm going to try and give you some choices. And I'm going to invite you to really try and stay present with your body. Stay present with your breath. Those are the two most important things out of any shape or form or movement that we do today is just staying with yourself. If you find your mind floating away, just gently bring it back into your body. So I'm going to start today seated, and you are welcome to grab a cushion or a chair, or you're welcome to have your legs crossed as I am. You're welcome to have a cat right beside you. Jay, my cat got the memo. She's here. So just find a comfortable seated shape. And we're going to start with our breath today. And I'm just going to invite you to maybe just bring your awareness to your seat, to the part of you that is connected to the ground. And you might want to close your eyes or just find a spot to rest your eyes on and start to connect to your breath. And maybe bring your awareness to your spine and send the crown of the head up to the sky. And then really rooting down with your sits bones. Again, whatever is connected to the ground, feeling the ground underneath. And thinking about the idea of your body and space inside your body. So even with your breath, can you create space with your breath, with your inhales and your exhales? And no judgment of the breath, whether it feels shallow or short, just allowing yourself to breathe as you are. I'm going to invite you to bring your fingertips down onto the ground beside you, or maybe just hanging beside you if you're in a chair. And on your inhale, we're going to flip the palms up and we're going to reach the arms up towards the sky. On your inhale, Reaching on your exhale, letting the hands float back down to the ground. And moving with your breath, let's do that 3 more times. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Inhale up, reaching, maybe this time even looking towards the top. Exhaling down. Last time, reaching up and out, taking up as much space. And exhaling, letting the hands float back down. Invitation to bring the hands to your heart. And we're going to do some breathing. We're going to lift the right hand up off the chest on our inhale, and we're going to send it to the back. So that's the inhale. The exhale, hand comes back towards the chest. And then taking that to the other side. Inhale. And exhale. Other hand, inhale, reach it back. And exhale. And just keep moving with your breath. Just opening up the heart space here. Sitting up nice and tall, and the shoulders are still soft as you move. Beautiful. Hands together at the heart. Splitting both hands, reaching the elbows back. Exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands all the way up to the sky. And exhale back to center. So that's the heart breath. So once again, moving with your breath. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale up. Exhale to center. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale. An opportunity for mindfulness here, just being with your movement, with your breath, feeling the hands touch together in the center, moving up and back down. Inviting you to bring your hands just to the tops of your legs and palms up. And just come back to your breath. Be feeling it settling in your body. And an invitation to come into those Buddha rolls that we do a lot here, that I love. So big circles, the torso circling around the hips. And the invitation is to really kind of roll around here. So you kind of get a little massage around the tailbone, in the glutes, in the hips. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. Maybe you want to reverse the direction here. There's always a lot of creaking when I do this, which is oddly satisfying. Beautiful. Coming back to center. Now we're going to do those same rolls, but we're sort of in the solar plexus now. We're creating space in our torso. So keeping our hips fairly stationary, we're going to draw our ribs around our waist in circles. And they might not be very big. It's just a subtle kind of movement. But once again, with that idea of just moving, shifting, creating space, maybe reversing the direction. Coming back to center, grabbing hold of hands, could be wrists or forearms, maybe even elbows. We're going to get into the shoulders now. So the invitation is to lift the shoulders, drawing circles kind of on the ceiling with our elbows. And again, you get to decide how big or small the circle is. Getting into the shoulder joints here, reversing the direction. And then if you like, you can release the grip and then bring your hands together, clasping hands with the pointer fingers together, and then draw those circles with the arms a little bit more straight here. Slight bend in the elbow, drawing big circles. Reversing the direction. And then the invitation is to let go of the hands and just let them float around. Notice your hands. Notice your hands floating through space. Maybe reversing the direction again. And then if your arms are feeling like, okay, that's enough, letting them float back down. Awesome. Inviting you, if you have crossed legs, to switch the legs out. And then gently just walk yourself down into a little bit of a forward fold. Doesn't matter how far you come down. We just want to feel a little something in the hips. You're welcome to drop head, neck, and shoulders. And I like to rock back and forth here too, just rock from side to side. That seems to help release a little bit of tension if you've got tight hips. Maybe you want to be in stillness. That's fine as well. Breathing into your hips, sending your breath to the hips to create space in the hip joint and the tissues. Inviting you to walk your hands back up. Once again, change the legs. So front leg and back, and then walk yourself down again. And noticing the difference between, there might be a difference, there might not, but usually there is. One side of our bodies usually a little different than the other. So just maybe noticing. When you're ready, walking yourself back up. We're going to bring our legs out in front. So extending the legs out. And maybe when you get there, just shifting yourself. Always welcome to put a pillow underneath your hips if that feels better. But inviting you to point and flex your feet here. Maybe do some ankle circles. And inviting you to spread your toes, which it used to be a lot harder for me to do. Once I started my yoga practice, my feet got a lot more flexible and stronger. So just really spreading the toes, putting space between each toe. And then just relaxing. Invitation to pick up your right leg, and you are going to cross it over. And almost like how we do a figure four when we're on our back. So the leg is crossed over. You're going to plant your left hand and you're going to bring your right hand up and over for a side stretch. Soften the shoulder here. And this hand that's on the ground, that elbow can be bent or straight. We're just coming into the side stretch. Breathing into the right side of your body. You're welcome to kind of drop the shoulder towards the leg, so hollow out the body a little bit, and then even lift the shoulder up, open it up towards the sky. Maybe that movement might feel good. You could also just remain in side stretch, reaching the arm, breathing into the right ribs. Taking one more breath here, in through the nose. And then option to come up. And we're going to come into forward fold again. So fingers landing somewhere down on the floor beside the extended leg. You get to decide how far you go. Keeping the spine upright, straight. And then just maybe even checking out what happens when you kind of collapse over the leg. Maybe that stretch in the grounded leg moves. Just experimenting with that a little. When you're ready, walking yourself back up, uncrossing that leg, reaching it down, maybe giving the legs a little shake here. And then we'll do that on the other side. So crossing the leg over, kind of in a figure four shape. And then we're going to ground the right hand. We're going to lift the left up and over. And just paying attention to the left sits bone. If it wants to come up, just ground it back into your mat. So finding space in the left side of the body. Maybe dropping the shoulder or lifting it up towards the sky. Moving with your breath if you like. Make one final inhale and exhale here and side stretch. And then coming back up to center. Coming into forward fold again. Walking yourself down. Getting into the hamstring. Sending your breath. Blowing through any tension, any constriction in that area, just letting everything soften. And then walking yourself back up. Extending the leg back out, maybe giving them a little shake. And then I'm going to invite you to lean back on your hands. And if you have wrist issues, maybe you're making a fist and leaning back. And then we're just going to windshield wiper the knees back and forth to the right and to the left. I'm going maybe slowly here. Again, rolling across the tailbone. Just noticing the stretch, the places that you feel that stretch. My hips are always tight, so this feels quite good. And you might be moving with your knees together. You could also try just letting one knee go and then the other. So an inner and outer leg stretch. And then coming back to center, just repositioning yourself. We are going to be lifting our hips into a reverse table. So your fingers may be away from your hips. You could also do this with your fingertips towards your hips, your tailbone. So just finding a spot where you know that you'll be able to lift up your hips if you like. The first movement is reverse table. So we're just lifting the hips. We're opening up the front of the body. So just lifting the hips, kind of aiming for a nice straight spine. The chin can be tucked and you could just be looking towards your knees. If that feels comfortable, you could also let your head go back if that feels okay on your neck. So breathing here, reverse table, then we're going to drop our hips down and we're going to put the soles of our feet together and we're going to reach through into forward fold. So maybe just hanging out here for a moment, softening the lower back and the hips. And then, of course, the option is to turn this into a flow. So coming back into reverse table, moving with your breath. Hips down, exhaling, forward through. So going as slowly or as quickly as you want to. But once again, just being with your body here. Trying to just notice your body in each movement, where you're feeling it. And you may want to stay in one of these shapes. That may feel the best. So you're welcome to do that. Maybe one last reverse table. One last fold here. And then coming back to center, we'll move into a table shape. So inviting you on to hands and knees, taking some time maybe to fold up your mat or grab a pillow for your knees if you need it. Of course, welcome to come down onto forearms here if wrists don't work, or even come onto your fists. So we're going to come right into a twist here, thread the needle. So inviting you to lift your left hand off the ground and reach it up all the way up to the sky. And we're going to pause here, remembering to breathe, reaching, and then inviting you to come into thread the needle. So that arm comes down behind the right hand, dropping all the way down to the shoulder, finding a comfortable shape here. And it might take some adjusting. You might want to keep that right hand just on the ground. You might want to place it on your lower back or come into the bind. So just finding a spot, breathing into your twist here, noticing where your hips are. If you feel like they're pulling to one side, maybe just gently drawing them back to the center. Twists are said to be detoxifying and really helping to free up any stuck energy around the spine, squeezing our organs, so providing some pressure inside our bodies. Maybe taking one last inhale and exhale here in your twist. If your hand is on your lower back or in the bind, bringing it back down, placing it on the ground and pushing into the ground to rise up. And then I'll invite you to draw that arm back up once again. Reach for the sky. And then let it float back down to table, neutral spine. Maybe taking a reset breath here. And then let's do that on the other side if you feel like it. So picking up the right hand, reaching up, squeezing and reaching, making yourself as big as possible, as long as possible here, and then letting that hand float all the way down behind the left, all the way down onto your shoulder for a twist on the other side. Taking a moment to place your hand where it wants to live. Bringing your awareness to your hips, maybe adjusting. And thinking about the twist on this side, breathing through that twist in your body, noticing any differences. Maybe taking one more inhale and exhale here. Invitation to bring the hand back down to the ground, pushing yourself back up to your table. Actually, let's continue on with that reach too, letting that arm float all the way up to the sky, reaching on that side, and then letting it float back down, back to your table. Invitation to walk the hands to the top of your mat and allow your hips to sink back towards your heels, coming into puppy dog. So head, neck, and shoulders, armpits moving towards the mat. Spine is long and straight. The tailbone is reaching back towards the ankles. And then if you like, on your inhale, moving forward, maybe coming into a little plank here. The knees can stay on the ground. A little push-up stance, I should say. And then drawing back once again into puppy dog. Moving between those two shapes. You could even lift your feet kind of off the ground and cross your ankles here in your plank. Back to puppy dog. If you're feeling very energetic, you could even add a little push-up here. So once you've come into plank, little push-up, and then back to puppy dog. So if you like, doing that a few more times, strength, and then stretch and release. Now, next time you come into plank, invitation to lower yourself all the way down to your tummy, keeping the hands kind of the top of the ribs, elbows tucked in by your ribs, and coming into a cobra shape. So lifting head, neck, and shoulders off the ground as you point your toes and lift the knees. So little back bend, and then rolling all the way back down to the mat, forehead touches the ground. And let's do that 2 more times. Rolling up into cobra, lifting the heart, lengthening the spine, exhaling back down. And one last time, lifting up into cobra. Beautiful. And exhale, roll back down. Now, invitation to just drop to the right cheek here and bring the arms down by the ground and rest, soften everything. Or, if you like, coming into plow, I should say. So bringing forehead to the ground, pointing the toes once again so that the knees lift off the ground, and then reaching arms and legs up off the ground. Holding, lengthening, maybe spreading the fingers and the toes, squeezing, and then softening everything. Back down to the ground, maybe left cheek on the ground now. Maybe you might want to do that on the other side. On your next inhale, pointing the toes, lifting the arms and legs off the ground, coming into plow again, reaching, spreading the fingers and the toes, and then softening. Back down to the ground, let everything go. Lower back, legs. Let your breath go. Just that act of squeezing, of constricting, contracting our muscles and then releasing them. That creates space in our bodies. Invitation to push into your hands, bring your hands to the mat, push into your hands and come into a resting form. So that could be knees and ankles together, hips on the heels. You might want to bend your arms and just place your forehead on your hands or perhaps stacked fists. You could also keep the ankles and toes together and bring each knee to each side of the mat. So wide-legged resting form. And just let your body drape down to the mat. So inviting you to take a little rest here. I'll offer a reading as we rest. So feel free to listen or just to let the words wash over you. This is from Rise, Sister Rise. Mother Earth is busy weaving the threads of your life. You don't need to be busy for things to be happening. If you're someone who gets lit up by self-improvement, this one is extra important. If you're doing all the time, there's not space for Mother Earth to do anything for you. Put time aside for unattached nothingness, creating, playing, and relaxing, not for the outcome of where it will get you or what it will give you, but for the pure pleasure of it. Don't fall back into the patriarchal, linear thinking that in order to be productive, you need to be active at all times. When you play or commune with nature, you fall back into flow with life. Mother Earth is busy knitting the tapestry of your life when you least expect it. Instead of relying on your masculine reserves of endurance, work at fine-tuning your intuition and move when you are called to move. The universe is always hard at work for you, serving you. Every step you take towards the flow of life, life takes 3. So you would be absolutely welcome to stay where you are. We've got a few more minutes of practice here, so if you just feel like resting here, please do. If you feel like a little bit more movement, I'll invite you back into table. Maybe walking the hands to the top of the mat again, and this time we'll come into downward dog. So tucking your toes, lifting the knees off the mat and pushing your hips towards the back of your mat and taking some time here to come into dog. I like to make sure that my feet are at least hip distance apart, and sometimes I even come into a wider legged downward dog. So feel free to experiment with that. Knees can be bent. In fact, it's kind of better when your knees are bent. Knees are bent, providing the foundation to really lengthen the spine here, and that is kind of the goal of downward dog, is to find length in the spine. Maybe there's a micro bend in the elbows. Hands are fully on the mat. Fingers are spread, maybe even tented a little bit. Perhaps the head is just kind of floating in between the upper arms. The back of the neck is nice and long. So finding your shape, and then maybe adding some movement, maybe pedaling the feet, alternating heels down to the mat, maybe kind of shifting the hips back and forth too. Option to deeply bend the knees here, and then maybe straighten them, come into a little bit of a plank. And once again, if this is hard on the wrists, feel free to come down to your forearms. Feel free to also just rest. Invitation to come back to center in your dog and lift the right foot off the ground, coming into three-legged dog. So just extending that leg out, creating a nice long line. Breathing, letting your breath hold this shape with you. And then letting that foot float down to the mat again. Once again, maybe taking some movement, walking your dog. And then invitation to lift the left leg up and out. Three-legged dog on the other side. Pulling your navel towards your spine. Strong shape here. When you're ready, letting that foot come down, come back to dog. Move as you wish. And then inviting you to walk your feet towards your hands. So bending the knees deeply here. We're going to come into ragdoll. So knees are deeply bent. And almost so much that you can kind of just lay your torso, your ribs on the tops of your legs. Maybe your hands are supporting you on the ground. You can keep your head above your heart here if that feels better, or you can just completely release down onto the mat. Let the head go, let the neck go. Maybe shake the head no, nod yes. Maybe even grasping opposite elbows here and letting the weight of your hands and your arms pull you down. And when that feels like enough, walking the hands back to the top, the feet towards the back, coming onto your knees. And we're going to come all the way down onto our backs. So taking your time to roll down onto your backs, bending the knees and keeping the feet on the ground. And just allow maybe a breath here to ground, to feel your back, your spine on the ground. An invitation to cross the right leg over the left, like you were sitting in a chair. And if you like, lifting the feet off the ground and pulling that whole shape towards you, towards your heart. Maybe you've got a hand on each shin. As you're doing this, softening the feet, softening the hips, just pulling it gently towards your chest. Then letting the feet drop back down to the mat, keeping the legs crossed. You're going to drop them all the way over to the left. So coming into a twist. You get to decide how far your legs come down. You get to decide where your arms are going to live. Maybe they're going to be extended out from the shoulders. Or maybe a hand on the heart, a hand on your belly. Allowing yourself to drop into this final twist. Feeling the ground underneath you. When you're ready to come out of your twist, bringing the arms down, palms down, pulling your navel towards your spine so you can bring your knees back to center, uncrossing your legs, and we'll take that on the other side. So this time crossing the left leg over the right. You'd be welcome to just stay here, but you can also lift the feet off the mat and just pull your legs towards your heart, either with hands on shins or hands on the backs of your thighs. And softening feet and softening hips. Maybe dropping the feet towards the ground once again, and then dropping that shape over to, I think it's the right this time. Coming into a twist on the other side. Arranging your hands, your arms, where they want to be, maybe extended or cactus. And once again, bringing your awareness to the ground, to every spot that your body is connected to the ground. Breathing in through the nose, last inhale in this twist, and exhaling all the air out. Maybe drawing the arms back down to the ground, palms down, pulling navel to spine, and then bringing the legs up to center. Unraveling the legs. Keeping the feet on the ground, the knees bent. Inviting one last shape here. Arms are down, maybe by your sides, allowing the feet to lift off the ground and letting them float up to the sky, like you're standing on the sky. And Jay truly is standing on the sky. Just letting the legs float. Maybe the arms come up and join. They float above your face. And as you feel your spine, your back, your hips, your lower back on the ground, your legs and your arms are just kind of floating in space. And again, drawing your awareness to them, tracing the outline of your legs and your arms, floating. Maybe you're feeling the energy run from your feet and your hands, down your legs, down your arms, into your body. And whenever you're ready to release that shape, just slowly letting them float down, coming into a final resting shape form that could be on your mat with your arms and legs extended. Maybe you want to grab a blanket. You could also choose to lie on your side or your stomach, or even close your practice seated. Just inviting you to come back to your breath, back to your body. Letting the breath settle. Softening your face, your eyes and your cheekbones. Softening your throat, your hips and your tailbone. Letting your shoulder blades just sink into the mat. Letting your belly be soft. Allowing yourself to rest, to be. And I'll close our practice today with a final reading from Melody Beattie. So again, you get to decide. Maybe you want the words to land. Maybe you want them to just float away. Feel free to tune me out. So Melody writes, ease up on yourself. When you don't know what to do next, ease up on yourself. See how much more you accomplish, how much easier life is, how much more you enjoy life when you aren't forcing yourself. Forcing can turn into fear. Fear that the job won't get done, fear that the natural way things will evolve won't be right, fear that you're not good enough. Learn a different way. Learn the way of love. Soften, sit back, let go for now. Do something different. Breathe deeply, burn a candle, read a poem, light some sage. If fear is present, send it away. See it, feel it, and then allow it to leave. Return to the task in love when it feels natural, right, and on time. Participate naturally, joyfully in creation, whether that's the creation of a relationship, a dinner, a garden, or a meeting. Sometimes it's time to focus, to try hard. Sometimes it's time to ease up. See how much more you get done when you ease up, and see how much more playing and laughing and enjoying gets done too. So, from where you are, if you aren't already, just inviting you to place a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly, if that feels comfortable. Inviting you to honor yourself and the time that you've taken today to be here. Honoring the space that you've made for yourself. And I'll close by thanking you for allowing me to share this practice with you. May we all walk and dance and do nothing with grace. And may the light of the universe shine upon our path. Thanks very much, everyone. Peace to you all. I just have loved your view, Jay. That's been nice for me. And for anyone who's watching this practice after the fact, thank you for joining. I'm going to hit stop record now for everyone. Thank you.